So here we are once again, live, folks. Friday Night Tech Talk, and glad you're here. And right now it's just me, Mobile Geezer, and I don't know if Ted or Will join. They pop in when they pop in. Uh, Luckily for me, Ted's been popping in more often than not the last couple of months, which is great. Will, you know how that is. He's busy and he's working his tail off. And Mike is out door dashing again, once again with his wife. They're having a good time and they're making money. So I can't say much about that. Can't knock it. And he's also making money for his channel. So that's a very good thing. He put out a video this past week. If you didn't see it, go take a look. It's on Simply Your Device. And so hopefully he's doing well. I spoke to him tonight for the first time in a while, and he sounds like he's really enjoying himself and he's making money. So, and he and his wife like to do it together. So that's great. So if this is your first time here, welcome to Friday Night Tech Talk. I do this every Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm here in Tennessee, and we have people who pop in from California and from New York. Ted is in Texas. Will and of course Mike, they're in Jersey. If Will happens to pop in, and then of course we usually have Renz from the Philippines. He's one of the very faithful listeners. And Pat, I believe he's in London. He pops in once in a while. So, and right now in London it is 2 a.m. tomorrow morning. For Renz, he's usually on his way to work right now. He works Saturday morning, and most of the time that he's on the show, he is at work. And here's Brian. Brian's in here. Glad to have you, brother. Vince is in here. Vince has become another one who is one of the very, very faithful guys. First one in tonight was Eleanor, and she was in at 7:30. And I guess I'll say it twice for people who come in later, but for those that I asked to pray for Eleanor's surgery today, she had a double foot operation, and that went very well. So thanks for the prayers, and things seem to be going well. And her daughter is here to help take care of her, so that's a very good thing. I'll make another announcement later on when some of the other guys pop in. Just wanted you guys to know. So if you're new, once again, I go over stories from the past week, from last Friday to this Friday, and just some of the tech stories that might interest me or that I think may have been a big tech story. And speaking of big tech stories, I'm going to show you the stories on my webpage in a minute. But this week, I usually get the tech stories done on Thursday evening, and I publish them, and then I send them out to the guys. But this week, I was a little ahead of myself, and I got the stories done on Wednesday evening, and I hadn't sent it out yet, thank goodness, because naturally, Google has to come out and pop out their fold just yesterday afternoon. So I had to go back into my webpage last night, and I made that the first story. So let me go share screen. So if you want to follow the stories, it's my webpage. Let me get this branding stuff out of the way a little bit. So my webpage is mobilegeezer.wordpress.com. And if you go there and click on the date, today's date, you'll just get tonight's story. So these are the show notes for tonight. So while we're here, I'll give you a little preview. Usually I put the most important stories second, but since they waylaid me and I had to go back in and change it real quick, I made it the first story. Google finally makes the Pixel Fold a reality. That's from The Verge. So we'll be seeing that next week. And of course, everybody and his brother had that story yesterday afternoon. Also, this week, Pixel 7As, so a bunch of Pixel 7As were out on eBay for sale already And I said real because, people putting stuff out before it's officially announced. Maybe, maybe not, but we'll see. And then I thought this was good because of people who've been being followed with air tags and that type of thing. Google and Apple are getting together. So I said the end of air tag stalking. Let's hope so. That's on Tech Radar. We'll be looking at that. And then, of course, there's a writer's strike out in Hollywood. And some people are starting to say it may be more Netflix's fault that there's a writer's strike than anybody else. So I just said, is Netflix adding fuel to the writer's strike? Also on Tech Radar. And then, for months we've been hearing about tech companies, layoffs. Thousands of people have been laid off. But I said, tech jobs are still there. Let's not get carried away. And you might have been getting the impression all the tech people are getting fired. That's not true. They're still hiring some people, and we'll talk about that. And then I gathered this week, the AI godfather also warns of dangers as he retires. So the guy called the AI godfather, he retired from Google this week at 75 years old, and he's also saying, slow down and be careful with AI. So I thought that was interesting and important. So we will go over all of those. Let me stop screen. Let me put my branding back where it was. Okay. Back to the comments. Cranberry. Oh, welcome, brother. I'm assuming, brother. Welcome anyway. Glad you're here. Eleanor, yes, I just announced for all of those who were praying for Eleanor, everything seemed to go well today. Both feet she got operated on, and things seem to go well, and she's doing well, and her daughter's here to take care of her, and so we're very grateful for the prayers. Brian said, feel better. Cranberry S. You've been in my thoughts all week for Eleanor. Heal up well and take George dancing soon. When it comes to dancing, Eleanor and I were always the opposite of most couples. I'm the one who dragged her on the dance floor because I'm a dancing nut. So just so you know, but yeah, she's willing to take me dancing. I'll go. She said, thank you for all the concern. The numbing agent is still in effect. The pain hasn't really kicked in yet. So I'm not in too much pain. We'll see what tomorrow brings. Just keep the well wishes going in prayers. Thank you for the love, you guys. Brian says, maybe the Pixel Fold will not overheat as much because it will spread the heat over more area. For those who aren't aware, Brian had a lot of problems with, I believe it was the Pixel 7 Pro, and he had a lot of issues with it. So a lot of overheating issues. Cranberry, time to go to work. Have a blessed weekend, everyone. Now, Cranberry is Cranberry, I believe, must be Renz. Changed his sign-on name. That's my guess. Renz, let me know if I'm right later on if you hear about it. But anyway, he should be on his way to work. So, don't know about Ted. I know Mike won't be here because he's out making money. So we will just get started with the stories. Like I said, you go to my website. And so I'm going to share screen. And we're going to start with Google finally makes the Pixel Fold a reality. So we're going to click on The Verge. Google announces the Pixel Fold. This was yesterday. This is Google's first foldable phone. More details are coming at Google I/O on May 10th. So we're all waiting for next Wednesday. So let's put this in reader view so we can get rid of some of these ads. Okay, so obviously this is from yesterday by Richard Lawler. The rumors are true. Next week, Google will introduce its first foldable phone, the Pixel Fold, during the Google I/O 2023 event. Google hasn't revealed any specs for the device, but a brief teaser video shows off a full-size outer display on a phone that opens up similarly to Samsung's Galaxy Z Fold devices. The camera bar on the back is similar to other Pixel devices, but doesn't stick out as prominently, reflecting what we've seen in leaked marketing materials and even a hands-on video, right? That came out last week. CNBC reported in April that the Pixel Fold would be a 5.8-inch phone that folds out into a 7.6-inch tablet. It'll reportedly include a Google Tensor G2 processor. A lot of us were hoping for a G3, but that didn't happen. Weigh 10 ounces and have the most durable hinge on a foldable. That's impressive, and hopefully it's true. Along with a price that's over $1,700. And I said, if the early rumors of 13 to 15 were true, I might have had a shot. $1,700, I'll be staying away. Samsung's latest foldable, the Z Fold 4, launched with a price tag of $1,799. We had expected to see it last year, but the Fold didn't make the cut for I/O in 2022, and rumors about its launch haven't slowed down in the year since, that's for sure. Google has focused on teaching Android developers, I don't know where that came from, teaching Android developers to make their apps work on foldable devices and larger screens, which may pay off next week with the launch of this device and the new Pixel tablet. Oh, and I do know where the Android, one of my favorite pastors that I follow, his first name is Andrew. That's probably where that came from. Okay, a page on the Google Store allows interested parties to sign up for more info once it's officially revealed on May 10th. Remember, that's next Wednesday, folks. So we're all excited about it. Even people like me who probably aren't going to buy it, we're still excited about it. And let's keep in mind, it's a first-gen device. So let's see how well Google does with this first-gen Fold. So that's the first story. Let's go back to the comments. Okay, nothing new in the comments, so I will continue on the next story. If Ted happens to pop in, I will certainly let you guys know. So we're still with Google, though. Pixel 7a's already for sale at eBay. Real? This I found on Android Authority. Again, a bunch of people had this story too. Let's go to Android Authority. Several Pixel 7a units spotted on eBay ahead of launch. A surprising number of Pixel 7a units have appeared on the website, and this was from 3 days ago, from Tuesday. So let's go into review. Okay, as we inch closer to Google I/O, anticipation of the Pixel 7a's release only continues to build. While many are patiently waiting for the official launch, some are jumping ahead and buying units off eBay. First spotted by If You Seek Amy on Reddit, it appears some sellers on eBay got their hands on the Pixel 7a a little early. And surprise, surprise, they're selling the phone to anybody willing to throw money their way. Yep. The listings reveal the phone's specs like dual SIM support, a Tensor G2 chip, 5G and Bluetooth connectivity, and more. But at this point, we already know all of that information thanks to earlier leaks. Although it's not uncommon to occasionally see phones on eBay before the launch, this situation is slightly different. The sheer number of Pixel 7a's up for sale is a little shocking. I don't think they ever tell us what the total number was. At first, there were several listings up on the website with prices ranging from $449, great price if it's real, the phone, I mean, up to $550. For reference, the official price of the Pixel 7a is expected to be $499. It's true. But in our last check, that number has dwindled down to 4. So I don't know how many phones it was up to, but at the last check, it was down to 4, with the cheapest option being the white 128 gigabyte model. And I agree with this paragraph very much. While it may be tempting to head over to eBay to pick up one for yourself, we recommend that you don't. Even if the seller is legit, and who knows, there's a possibility Google could just remotely disable these phones. That would essentially turn the phone into just a fancy brick. Not to mention the launch is only days away. Yeah, and I think if I were in Google's position and saw this, I would just turn them off. So I agree. I wouldn't be buying one of those. But interesting that people are jumping all over it, and they seem to have a bunch out there already. So let's turn that off. Let's turn that off. Screen, let's see. Brian, when he said time to go to work, Brian said, have a good one, Cranberry, possibly Ren's. Yeah, that's all I can think, Brian. I'm sure he'll let us know. Okay, nothing else new. Back to sharing screen. So, of course, as you guys know, if I'm alone, it's going to be an early night. I always try to find stories that are either big stories like the first two, especially the first one, or that I think is interesting enough, but you guys may not have heard it somewhere else. So that's how I try to do this every week. And if you remember, last year we did a few stories about how people were stalking people with air tags. I think a couple of people got killed, a couple of girls got raped. So this, I think, is a very good story. And I just said the end of air tag stalking. Let's hope so. And this was on Tech Radar. Apple and Google are teaming up to tackle AirTag stalking, and it's about time, by Hamish Hector. This is published 3 days ago, so Tuesday. But their joint solution might still be many months away. You know, if they get it done this year, at least that's my attitude. But the sooner the better. So, into reader view. Apple and Google are finally teaming up to create a way for you to detect unwanted Bluetooth trackers, such as Apple AirTags, whether you're on iPhone or Android. The pair have announced via Apple's newsroom that through the partnership, they have proposed an industry specification to help combat the misuse of Bluetooth location tracking devices. This specification also has the support of Tile, behind TileMate, Samsung, which has Galaxy tags, and I have one here where I might just show it to you right here. Yeah, I don't have any Apple AirTags, but I do have a few of the Samsung Smart Tags. So just thought I'd show you what that looks like. And let's see, that one's still in the box. Yeah, I don't think I ever even opened this one. Let's see if I can get it open. Yep. And this is for anybody who's never seen one. Okay, so that's what your Samsung Smart Tags look like. And I have one in the car, and you can use them to track all kinds of things, but if people are following you with them, that's very dangerous. So I'm glad for this story, but just wanted to let you guys see that. Go back to the story. The pair have announced that through the partnership, they have proposed an industry. We read that. The specification also has the support of Tile, Samsung, and other brands like Chipolo. I don't know that one. Eufy Security and Pebblebee. Stalkers who abuse readily available Bluetooth trackers like Apple AirTags to follow unsuspecting people have become a major concern for many. Yeah, and they were really, until Apple started turning on automatic tracking, there were really dangerous stuff going around. To try and combat this, Apple's iPhones can alert you, right, if an unknown AirTag is following you, but there's currently no automatic detection for people that use a different smartphone brand. Though there is an Apple Tracker Detect app on Android, I didn't know that allows you to manually scan for AirTags. So at least that's a good step in the right direction. But once it's automatic, I think everybody would be a lot better off. This partnership between Apple, Google, and other companies should reduce the stalking risk associated with Bluetooth trackers by introducing automatic detection for a wide array of trackers to a broader spread of smartphones. Currently, this initiative is in its early stages, but according to the announcement, we should see something implemented before the end of 2023. And like I said, better sooner than later. And then they followed up with Is a Google tracker on the way? As Google is behind the widely used Android mobile app operating system, its involvement in this Bluetooth tracker partnership could purely be because the solution would need to be OS agnostic. But there's a chance that this partnership also hints at a long-rumored gadget, Google AirTags. I didn't even know there was a rumor of that. They wouldn't be called AirTags, of course, but it's long been believed that Google is developing its own Bluetooth tracking tags to rival the devices made by Apple, Tile, and Samsung. Beyond that, not much is known about the Google trackers, but it's believed, and this surprised me, that they'll be revealed at Google I/O 2023 next week, so next Wednesday. I would be excited, and I'll probably pick up some of their trackers too if they have them. We thankfully don't have long to wait to see if the rumors are true, but for now, we can appreciate that the newly announced partnership means that if Google's equivalent of Apple AirTags are revealed, we won't have to worry as much about if they're being used to secretly follow us. So, interesting. So hopefully we'll all be safer by the end of the year, at least everybody who has some kind of AirTags. So let's get rid of that. Let's go back to the comments. Yeah, Brian said, damn, that's crazy with AirTags. Yeah, that's very, very dangerous stuff. And Brian, you come to, as always, you're awesome, sir. You know the money's going for a good cause. Oh, and by the way, speaking of good causes, because of Michael's influence, and I have all these high-end phones, but I haven't bought a budget phone in a while. Well, I did go out and get the Moto G Power this week. Should have the quick unboxing up by tomorrow. But just you guys should know it. And I told Michael that's his fault for showing off his. And Brian, thank you as always for the donation. Pixel Fold Fund, aka the Hot Plate Fund. Yeah, you're gonna have to give me a lot more money for me to pursue the Pixel Fold. But we'll see what happens. And Brian also said, wow, the Pixel 7 Pro had difficulty sending Super Chat. Wow, had to switch to the Samsung phone. Wow, that's pretty weird. I guess they just have glitches once in a great while. That's all I can think of. Anyway, thank you, Brian, as always. So let's get back to our stories. Share screen once again. And next one down, Netflix. Is Netflix adding fuel to the writers' strike? And this is, again, on Tech Radar. Netflix users cancel subscriptions amid growing feud over writers' strike by Tim Power, also published on Tuesday. Switching off amid a bitter dispute. Okay, so let's go on review. Netflix is believed to be one of the major factors behind the latest writers' strike. I had no idea. Netflix is facing the prospect of losing a large portion of its user base, you can say again, as the fallout from the 2023 writers' strike intensifies. The streaming giant, which lost millions of subscribers in 2022 due to the cost of living crisis, might suffer a similar downturn in users as part of its role in the ongoing dispute between the Writers Guild of America, WGA, and the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, AMPTP. You're going to see both of those all through the rest of the story. To try and summarize why the strike is taking place, the WGA, which represents over 20,000 writers in the entertainment industry, has been trying to negotiate better working conditions with the AMPTP. The reason and this is a real threat to them, I think. WGA members are concerned that the alarming rise in artificial intelligence, such as ChatGPT and Bard, might replace them in the industry as studios potentially look to utilize AI as a cheaper labor source. And I think for them, this is a real worry because AI can write stories right now, all on its own. Just tell it what you want and it gives it to you. WGA members are also calling for a better pay deal from the studios, especially those who run the world's best streaming services such as Netflix and Prime Video, who continue to compensate writers with low wages despite inflated prices. That I did not know. The AMPTP, which represents the world's most renowned movie and TV studios, is refusing to play ball with the WGA. Subsequently, the WGA, which represents people who work on films, TV shows, podcasts, documentaries, news outlets, and more, held a vote over strike action in mid-April with 97.5%. So they're definitely united of its members voting to walk out. The strike began at 12:01 a.m. Pacific time on May 2nd, so 4 days ago, and will last until the AMPTP and WGA can agree on a new deal. So this could get pretty serious pretty quick. Hasn't even been a week yet. So how does Netflix factor into all of this? It all started on April 18th with CEO Ted Sarandos telling reporters via Deadline that studios don't want a strike to happen. However, Sarandos also expressed confidence in Netflix being able, and this they didn't like, being able to ride out any perceived strike, saying, if there is one, we have a large base of upcoming shows and films from around the world. We can probably serve our members better than most. Well, I hope those upcoming shows will finish with the writers, because you're probably not going to get them now. Understandably, Sarandos' comments weren't received well by WGA members, you think, and those standing in solidarity with them. Now, a rumor which suggests Netflix had a big role to play in the breakdown in talks between the WGA and AMPTP has only added fuel to the fire. Speaking on the latest episode of John Rocha's The Hot Mic podcast, industry insider Jeff Snyder claimed that the wider industry is blaming Netflix for the writer's strike, so they think they're responsible. I have no idea. Apparently, there's a rumor going around on tracking boards and things like that. They blame the whole thing on Netflix, Snyder said. And like the studios are actually ready to make a deal. It's Netflix that's refusing to make a deal because they don't want to have to show transparency for the streaming numbers. That's, a big part of it. So who knows if that's true or not. Snyder was quick to claim that he's unsure about the story's validity. His source wasn't 100% sure either, so even your source is shaky. But the story has quickly grown legs across the entertainment sector, and that's what happens. Once it hits the net, it's going to spread fast. As a result, WGA members are more general Netflix users have begun to call on those subscribed to the streaming platform to cancel their subscriptions. That way, Netflix will be hit where it hurts most, i.e. across its revenue streams. Incidentally, according to Vanity Fair's Gabriel Sherman, that Netflix has already suffered a 1.7 drop in its stock price since the strike began. So that's only in, 3 days since this story came out? 2 days. Okay. Tuan Benavides, this one I'm having a hard time. Bahatakara, I'm not going to get that, who worked on Netflix's My Life with the Walter Boys, was one of the first WGA members to state they were canceling all of their streaming subscriptions, including Netflix, until the strike was resolved. Well, yeah, as a writer, that's the thing to do. Others quickly followed suit, including Bosch writer Dylan Park Pettiford, voice actor Janine Granda, and Tell Me Lies scribe Megan Oppenheimer. A quick Twitter search of the phrase writer's strike cancel confirms many more entertainment industry employees and Netflix users are doing likewise. This isn't the first time this year that Netflix has faced the prospect of losing users. During its Q1 2023 earnings call, during which Netflix announced its password sharing crackdown plan was actually happening, the streamer confirmed that it suffered a slight downturn in paying customers after the rollout of the password crackdown scheme in Latin America. I remember that. That's true. So yeah, that wasn't too bad of a hit, but could get a lot worse. However, Netflix bullishly stated it expects users to reactivate their account or even sign up for the first time a few months later, with people worried about missing out on the service's latest big hit. Yeah, that was before they knew about the writer's strike. It's unclear how the Netflix writer's strike rumor will affect its subscriber base. Right now, the amount of people ending their subscriptions appears to be more of a ripple rather than a tidal wave of cancellations. And if Netflix is as confident as it proclaims, I don't see how they can be, over its forthcoming lineup of movies and TV shows, it'll likely retain the vast majority of its user base through the ongoing strike. Unless these shows they already have in hand, then they don't need the writers for any of these new shows anymore. Then I can see where they might be a little confident. The problem Netflix might have, though, is if users start getting agitated over the delayed return of its most popular shows. The likes of Stranger Things Season 5, Wednesday Season 2, The Night Agent Season 2, Squid Game Season 2, and Arcane Season 2. Yeah, I've seen some people that love Squid Game. Are all in active development. The writer's strike means all WGA members and those who support the strike have down tools on penning scripts for these wildly successful TV shows. So yeah, if they have them done already, or at least a lot of them done, they're probably okay. Incomplete scripts means principal photography on these productions can't begin, thus delaying their releases further. Yep. If Netflix's global user base gets tired of waiting for each of these shows to return, depending on how long the writer's strike lasts, more subscribers could start turning their backs on the streamer. If that happens, Netflix will have no choice but to return to the negotiating table alongside its fellow studios and come to an agreement with the WGA. Regardless of how important Netflix's role in all of this is, there's one thing we can all agree on. Employees deserve to be properly compensated for their work. If WGA members don't think they're getting a fair deal, they have the right to strike until a resolution is reached. Over to you, Netflix and company. And they even tell you how to cancel your subscription. So this could get pretty serious for Netflix, depending how. I mean, it seems like they lost a lot in a couple of days, though. So let's get rid of that. Back to here. And that's it. And Annette, welcome. Glad you're here. I'll announce once more, because you weren't here, all those who I had asked to keep Eleanor in prayer for today's surgery. Her surgery went very well. She's doing very well, and we're waiting for the stuff to wear off to see what kind of pain she's going to be in. But everything seems to be going quite well. And Annette says, Eleanor, take it easy. God bless. So, good. Okay, so it looks like it's totally on me tonight. Quick drink, please. So it's going to be a quick one. So back to the show notes. And I just thought this was another interesting story, since we've been hearing about everybody losing their job in tech. Not true. I said tech jobs are still there. Let's not get carried away. And this was on the Next Web. And they always come up with some pretty good stories there. So this was from 3 days ago. Tech job opportunities remain strong despite layoffs. Here's why. That's good. And yeah, to me as a programmer or developer, I thought all along, yeah, you're probably not going to be getting rid of many of those, and they're not. Jobio shares insights into the tech jobs market, May 2nd. So let's go into, oh, I didn't tell you who wrote it. Oh, Christy McDermott. Okay. So review. If you've been reading about the current state of the tech industry in traditional media reports, you'd be forgiven for assuming that the industry is trembling on a precipice. That's true. about to plunge into the inky abyss. The truth, though, is somewhat more nuanced. While sites such as Layoffs FYI, which tracks tech redundancies, are reporting that around 616 tech companies has laid off 184,101 employees. That sounds like a big number until you realize how many they actually have. So far this year, those layoffs should be viewed within a wider context, absolutely. Gartner's Bula Schoen, a senior director analyst, said in a recent blog post, Gartner research found that the companies behind the 10 largest layoffs in tech talent still employ over 150,000 more people in total than at the beginning of 2020. So even now, they still have more than they had then, even after all the layoffs. Without diminishing the impact this has had on those who have lost their jobs, in the main, layoffs aren't happening because companies are failing. That's right. Rather, they are happening because of a number of factors, which include overhiring, and they also have done that during the pandemic, and corrections around that, wider economic factors, inflation, and higher interest rates, as well as cost cutting. Jeffrey Pfeffer, a professor at Stanford Graduate School of Business, also posits that layoffs are basically an instance of social contagion in which companies imitate what others are doing. I find that very strange, but Wall Street does that, so I shouldn't be surprised. Muddying the waters further is the fact that many of the roles that have been made redundant aren't technical ones. For example, coding, machine learning, and like I said, if you're a coder or a programmer, you probably have a pretty good job, and there's probably plenty of jobs for you too. So that was my feeling all along. And the reason I said they do the same thing on Wall Street as far as following along, I worked on Wall Street as a programmer for a number of years, so I kind of know what that's all about. Contrary to what we're seeing in the headlines, many of those being impacted by layoffs are in business functions rather than tech roles, as shown. Layoffs FYI founder Roger Lee agrees sales is the most common role, accounting for 20% of the laid off tech workers. Yeah, see, these people are going to be in marketing and places like that. Recruiting and HR are the functions most disproportionately affected relative to their size. It's becoming quite common for companies to lay off 50% or more of their talent teams. So these are the people responsible for hiring and that kind of thing. Layoffs and a talent crunch. As a result, we are in an environment where thousands of people at tech firms are losing their jobs, and yet employers are experiencing a talent crunch, struggling to fill specific roles. Yeah. A survey of recently laid off workers echoed this demand. It found that those who have been let go have been swiftly rehired elsewhere. Good. About 79% of workers recently hired after a tech company layoff or termination landed their new job within 3 months of starting their search. Good for them. In another study from 2022, Gartner confirmed that a skill shortage exists, with 86% of CIOs saying they were experiencing more competition for qualified candidates and 73% worried about IT talent attrition. So if you're a developer or a programmer, I'm guessing you don't have any problem whatsoever. That's my guess. Because there simply isn't a large pool of tech talent active in the job market, as a result, there are a number of sought-after in-demand skills such as web development, DevOps, and database software, according to data from Statista. Those skills are closely followed by AI and machine learning, mobile development, cloud computing, and UI UX. The European Software Skills Alliance said in its 2021 needs analysis report that there is a shift to new kinds of developers, like full stack developers and low code developers. I don't know what full stack developers are, but my programming years were a little different, but I still did some of the same stuff. But the most important insight is that developers are becoming more and more part of the regular organization instead of separate entity. Yeah, because it used to be you'd hire a bunch of contractors to do all the work, and now I get that they're making them more employees. Soft skills and knowledge of the business are therefore increasingly important for developers to be able to function. ESSA also identified skills gaps in the areas of data analysis and said that the key areas influencing software skills are AI, big data, industry 4.0, and modeling, particularly in research. If you're in the market for a data job, Amsterdam-based RevoData BV is seeking the unusual title of data revolutionist. That one I've never heard. To be the company's data and AI champion. So people who are asking for AI to slow down, well, this doesn't sound like things are going to slow down. And work as part of a highly talented digital native team to develop revolutionary data and AI solutions with Databricks. So obviously, some people are pushing along hard on AI. Also of interest is this Java full stack developer for Industry X at Accenture in Berlin. This digital transformation role is ideal for someone whose expertise lay in the sophisticated design and implementation of high-quality software solutions. That's what I used to do with JavaScript and Java. Oh, see, I could probably work in these because I've done some JavaScript and I've done quite a bit of Java. So my skills are still there, I guess. The AI field also needs more talent. Those with skills in augmented and virtual reality are in particularly high demand. I'll bet you they are, feeding into the requirements of Internet of Things companies, the metaverse, and Industry 4.0. Those with machine learning skills should check out this role at Apple in Berlin. Yeah, some of these people are going to be flying around the world for their jobs, but I'll bet you they're going to get paid extremely well. The machine learning high performance C++, something else that I've done in the past. Software engineer will work on complex problems in computer vision that I couldn't do, that require robust, efficient, well-tested, and clean solutions. Still more jobs are set to be created as a whole new breed of startups launch. In what could be a symptom of big tech's layoffs, the startup accelerator Y Combinator said that applications increased by 20%. So the jobs are still there in 2022. And in total, it received over 38,000 applications. This means exciting new career opportunities are just on the horizon. So just want people to stop thinking that everybody's getting laid off, because everybody isn't getting laid off. So that was, and of course, stories that had to do with developers and programmers always interest me after 34 years as a programmer. So I hope it doesn't bore you too much. Okay, nothing new in the comments. So we'll go on to my last story, which I also thought was interesting because Elon and so many people are warning about AI. Well, AI Godfather also warns of dangers as he retires. So this was on BBC News. So AI Godfather Geoffrey Hinton warns of dangers as he quits Google. This is also from Tuesday. And this was by Zoe Kleinman and Chris Vallant. So let's get a review before another pop-up comes in. A man widely seen as the godfather of artificial intelligence has quit his job, warning about the growing dangers from developments in the field. Geoffrey Hinton, 75, announced his resignation from Google in a statement to the New York Times saying he now regretted his work. That's kind of scary that he would say that. He told the BBC some of the dangers of AI chatbots were quite scary. Right now, they're not more intelligent than us as far as I can tell, but I think they soon may be. Dr. Hinton also accepted that his age had played into his decision to leave the tech giant, telling the BBC, "I'm 75, so it's time to retire." Yeah, but I'll bet you if next week they offer him a lot of money to come back and do some consulting, I'll bet you he'll take it. Just my guess. Dr. Hinton's pioneering research on neural networks and deep learning has paved the way for current AI systems like ChatGPT. So he's I gather he's probably going to feel pretty guilty if something happens. That's what it sounds like. In artificial intelligence, neural networks are systems that are similar to the human brain in the way they learn and process information. They enable AIs to learn from experience as a person would. This is called deep learning. The British-Canadian cognitive psychologist and computer scientist told the BBC that chatbots could soon overtake the level of information that a human brain holds. So he's from Canada and Britain, I gather. Right now, what we're seeing is things like GPT-4 eclipses a person in the amount of general knowledge. Well, of course it would. It eclipses them by a long way. In terms of reasoning, it's not as good, but it does already do simple reasoning. Yeah, but they hold a lot more knowledge than we can hold. And given the rate of progress, we expect things to get better quite fast. So we need to worry about that. In the New York Times article, Dr. Hinton referred to bad actors who would try to use AI for bad things. When asked by the BBC to elaborate on this, he replied, "This is just a kind of worst case scenario, kind of a nightmare scenario. You can imagine, for example, some bad actor like Russian President Vladimir Putin decide to give robots the ability to create their own sub-goals." Yeah, I can see where that could get scary. The scientists warned that this eventually might create sub-goals like "I need to get more power." Yep. He added, "I've come to the conclusion that the kind of intelligence we're developing is very different from the intelligence we have. We're biological systems, and these are digital systems." So big difference between us. And the big difference is that with digital systems, you have many copies of the same set of weights, the same model of the world. Yeah, they all think alike, and we don't. And all these copies can learn separately, but share their knowledge instantly. Yeah, like the Borg. That's what I thought of right away, the Borg. So it's as if you had 10,000 people, and whenever one person learned something, everybody automatically knew it. That's the Borg. And that's how these chatbots can know so much more than any one person. Matt Clifford, the chairman of the UK's Advanced Research and Invention Agency, speaking in a personal capacity, told the BBC that Dr. Hinton's announcement underlines the rate at which AI capabilities are accelerating. There's an enormous upside from this technology, but it's essential that the world invests heavily and urgently in AI safety and control. That's what they've all been saying. Dr. Hinton joins a growing number of experts who have expressed concerns about AI, both the speed at which it's developing and the direction. We need to take a step back. In March, an open letter co-signed by dozens of people in the field, and we've been over this a few times, including the tech billionaire Elon Musk, called for a pause on all developments more advanced than the current version of AI chatbot ChatGPT, so robust safety measures could be designed and implemented. And yeah, and even Microsoft, I said in last week's story, wants that. But I'll bet you, well, slowing down over here, they could be working faster and faster somewhere else. So that's the scary part. Yoshua Bengio, another so-called godfather of AI, who, along with Dr. Hinton and Yann LeCun, won the 2018 Turing Award for their work on deep learning, also signed a letter. That's good. But Dr. Hinton told the BBC in the shorter term, he thought AI would deliver many more benefits than risks. So I don't think we should stop developing this stuff. And I agree. He also said that international competition, and that could be a problem, would mean that a pause would be difficult. Exactly. Even if everybody in the U.S. stopped developing it, China would just get a big lead, he said. Dr. Hinton also said he was an expert on the science, not policy, and that it was the responsibility of government to ensure AI was developed with a lot of thought into how to stop it going rogue. So I'm glad we had the stories last week about them talking to people in Washington. Dr. Hinton stressed that he did not want to criticize Google and that the tech giant had been very responsible. That's good to know. I actually want to say some good things about Google, and they're more credible if I don't, work for Google. I can see that. In a statement, Google's chief scientist, Jeff Dean, said, "We remain committed to a responsible approach to AI. We're continually learning to understand emerging risks while also innovating boldly. It is important to remember that AI chatbots are just one aspect of artificial intelligence, even if they are the most popular right now." Yeah, they're the one we keep hearing about. "AI is behind the algorithms that dictate what video streaming platforms decide you should watch next." That's true. Yeah, AI is suggesting everything we see now. "It can be used in recruitment to filter job applications, by insurers to calculate premiums. It can diagnose medical conditions, although human doctors still get the final say." What we are seeing now, though, is the rise of AGI, artificial general intelligence, which can be trained to do a number of things within a remit. So, for example, ChatGPT can only offer text answers to a query, but the possibilities within that, as we are seeing, are endless. But the pace of AI acceleration has surprised even its creators. Yeah, they all seem to be surprised, even though they're the ones who worked on the stuff. It has evolved dramatically since Dr. Hinton built a pioneering image analysis neural network in 2012. Even Google boss Sundar Pichai said in a recent interview that even if he did not fully understand everything that its AI chatbot Bard did, and that's the thing, do any of them understand everything about them? Probably not. Make no mistake, we are on a speeding train right now, and the concern is that one day it will start building its own tracks. That is the concern. So just thought that was an interesting story, and we weren't going to get through a whole week without at least one AI story because it's just too hot of a subject. Pardon me. Oh, let me stop the screen and go back to. Okay. Oh, Renz, thank you as always so much, brother. You're very. Oh, and Renz, are you Cranberry that was interacting in here earlier, or are you not? Because we were suspecting that you were Cranberry. So let us know, please. Thanks, Annette. Hope you have a very blessed and great weekend also. And obviously, Renz is busy at work. So I hope he gets a chance to answer us either tonight or next week. So that's the last of my stories for the week. So as always, I'm going to go down to our weekly share of glowing rectangles, which either Ted or I tell you about every week. So if you're new here and you haven't seen glowing rectangles, let me get my brand stuff out of the way on the screen for a second. If you go to reddit.com/r/glowing rectangles, it's a place where you can get some recognition for yourself and for others. You can put videos there, you can put blog posts there, and people will upvote or downvote them, and you can put them there every day. And if you click on top, it'll show you what got the most upvotes for the day. So today, 5 upvotes for "I tried to quit Apple and failed." Second one is always an ad. Also 5 votes. "Fuel prices are a joke. Here's how to beat them." Okay, I can see why that got a bunch of upvotes. And then you have TK and One. One is the one who maintains this and started this, so you can thank him for the exposure that you or anybody else gets. Google Pixel Fold Thoughts. This is their weekly get together. They do this every Thursday evening here, I guess afternoon in California. They're both in LA, or the LA area. So that got 4 upvotes. So I just wanted you guys to see it. It's called Glowing Rectangles. It's on reddit.com/r/glowing rectangles. And sometimes I can see even our broadcast in there already while I'm still on. Last week I did, but not this. Oh, and there we are. See, Ted had set this up so it automatically loads whenever I do a video. So that's cool. So I'm going to give myself an upvote. So there. So just wanted to let you guys know about glowing rectangles as I do every week, folks. So let me stop screen, put my stuff back, and back to the comments. Okay, nothing new in the comments. So I'm glad for all of you guys who stuck with us. Thanks once again for all the prayer for Eleanor's foot operation today. And obviously, prayers were very successful, so the operation was very successful. Even the doctor prayed with us before she went into surgery, so that was pretty awesome. So I hope everybody has a wonderful and blessed weekend. By tomorrow, I should have a little unboxing video of my Moto G Power, and the reason I got it is because it's a real budget phone, but you always hear good things about it from people who bought it. And this is, I think, the 4th year that it's been out, because it came out in 2020. And I finally said, well, let me show my subscribers something that's not expensive, and let's see how it goes. So look for that. Probably tomorrow I'll have that up. And everybody have a wonderful and blessed weekend. And let's always remember, we all do better when we love each other. See you, folks.